What's up, you guys? Steven here for Off the Shelf Movie Night to talk to you about physical media, about Blu-rays and 4Ks, and the way we like to buy and own and collect our movies and TV shows. I'm going to talk to you about something challenging today. I'm going to talk to you about something I haven't actually seen my other BlueTube friends talk to you about, and that is the movie Lamb. Yes, I've seen it unboxed, but no one's reviewed this movie yet, so I'm going to try and review this for you. If you like this kind of stuff, please give me a subscribe if you haven't already done so. Definitely hit that like button, hit that thumbs up. It really helps get me out in the algorithm and share the love. So, Lamb. Let's unbox this thing real quick. I know you may have seen an unboxing. In case you haven't, I'm going to go ahead and do it for you. This is an A24 exclusive. The only way to get your hands on this version of this film is to order direct from A24. So I much prefer this type of packaging to what they did with Midsommar. Midsommar is a very nice collection, but it's hard to display. It's really big. I mean, you can kind of see it, over my head right there on the shelf. It's kind of back there. But yeah, it's difficult. This, however, I have mixed feelings because I do prefer it, but as nice as this is, it's also kind of a riff on Criterion. I mean, this looks like a Criterion release in every way except one, which is a very weird decision, and that is this weird scanner barcode scan situation that wraps around right there. That's honestly, from overall what's a pretty classy package, really ugly. And I don't know if this has to do with something and how they store these in their warehouse, makes it easier for them to scan. I don't know what. It's a weird decision, though. But anyway, here it is. Movie Lamb. It's an Icelandic fantasy horror film. Kind of. It's the back so you can get a look. It is a digibook, so you pull that out just like that. And what we have on the inside is a very classy, so you just kind of get the lamb eye right there. This is a very classy presentation. And the book, now the book is controversial. This is normally, so the book slides in there. This is normally not a big deal for us because when we order these special editions from Criterion or Arrow Video or whatever, and we get these books and we flip through them, it's not a big deal because we've usually seen the movie. But the common or unique issue with this particular release is that it was such a limited theatrical run that a lot of us haven't seen the movie. And this book is very kind of spoilery. There's some artwork in here, some concept art that will really spoil the film for you if you're not careful. So I'm not going to flip through this book right now. Just take me at my word. Let me see if there's something I can show that's not spoilery. We have to be careful with it. So that's some of the scenery that's in the film. Yeah, there's an area of sketches in here. That's a whole section of really pretty sketches, what the concept art for the film. That section is really spoilery. So you can't just flip through the book. And I don't always, when I show you guys these things, just flip through the books anyway. I try to pick out a couple of images just to give you a vibe of what to expect. Because you never know. You never know. Usually I've seen the movie by the time I get these sets, but I don't assume that everyone has. So, and this is not the first time one of these big books has spoiled a movie, because these books are supposed to be comprehensive additions to your package. So they talk about everything. So of course they might do that. The first time I saw this was an unboxing video, and I did actually see, because the book was flipped through, I did see that artwork, and it kind of did spoil something for me. So I'm going to start by cool package, very nice. We'll talk about the bonus features in a minute. I want to talk about the film first, and then we'll talk about what's happening bonus features wise. So this is an Icelandic film. It stars Naomi Rapace maybe. You'll know her from Alien Covenant and Prometheus. She was in both of those films. Also, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. That's where she's most notable. Now, an interesting piece of information with this particular film, I'm just minimizing there, is that this is the first time that she has spoken Icelandic language in a film. And this is a language she learned by living in Iceland as a child. So, all right. So the story goes, the no spoilers kind of synopsis for the film goes, a couple living in the wilderness, basically, of Iceland. Some beautiful, beautiful open space. This is not woods. This is just open mountains of grass everywhere. They live isolated with a lamb sheep farm, essentially. And you can tell that there's sort of depression early on when you're watching the film between a couple. They sort of just live day to day. They just work hard on their farm to survive, and that's kind of just they live through and for the daily grind. You see a number of births, lamb baby births, and everything is just normal. It's the day-to-day grind for them until one day there's a birth that is very not normal. And that sequence is a pretty incredible sequence in the film, not because of any visual gore or anything. It's entirely told through facial expressions between the two lead characters and their reaction to what they have just seen. It's a very, you've seen from the trailers, obviously, it's a very unique baby lamb, not your average what you would expect. I mean, obviously you've seen it from the trailers. The lamb is part human also. At least it appears so. So it's born, and obviously it changes the couple's lives forever. You see an immediate change in them, the way they live, the way they treat each other, and the way they treat this new baby lamb. What's fascinating about this movie is it's sparse in dialogue. It wouldn't surprise me if the dialogue is only 5 or 6 or 8 pages of actual dialogue. You can literally watch this movie without reading the subtitles if you wanted to. In fact, that's probably going to be my second watch of the film. The second time I watch it, I'm just going to watch it for the visual and just see if I can get the entire movie through context. And I believe you can, because a lot of the conversation that happens in the movie is day-to-day, just your typical what people talk about conversation. It's not that impactful on the overall story. You get the overall story almost 100% from visuals, from facial expressions, from body language, and from literal things that happen on screen. So it's very difficult to get into what is the... I mean, obviously, you've got the fantasy element there. It's very difficult to get into the horror aspect of it without spoiling the film, so I don't want to do that. But what I will say is it's beautifully shot, wonderfully acted, and it's sparse. It's sparse in explanation, sparse in story. It is a very... it's left to the imagination a lot, what happens in this film, and the whys and the hows and everything. It's left for you to think about and for you to contemplate it. And I wonder, too, if you were from Iceland, if there's something there that maybe culturally or in storytelling that we're not necessarily getting as Americans. And that's something that is worth further research on my part, and I probably will do that. But just watching the film it's just an experience. You just sit back and you let it wash over you. It's a slow burn. It is not like pop, 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 seeing action, 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 action. It just sort of builds slowly, and you just sort of get engrossed in these people's day-to-day lives. And that day-to-day grind that sets the pace for the film continues. It just continues with this new addition to their lives, and you see how that new addition impacts them. For the vast majority of the movie, you have just these two people and this lamb in the film. In the, I don't know, maybe a little past halfway point, another family member does enter the story, and that is when things really begin to change, because this person's reaction to the baby lamb is different, obviously. And the film tells a big story in a very small way. There's love and a loss that are all dealt with, but not with big pieces of exposition. You know, I recently saw Drive My Car, and I reviewed that here, and I was annoyed by the fact that there had to be exposition to explain every emotional beat. Well, this movie couldn't be more opposite. In fact, you just get the emotional beats through visual communication, and nothing is explained. You just have to soak it in. You understand every aspect of the loss that is being talked about in this movie without it ever physically being talked about. It's all done in visual. And some people are really going to hate, there's my cat, in the second half of the film, not getting enough explanation on what we're seeing. And if you're one of those type of people, you are going to be mad, because this movie leaves it to you to figure out. With that said, it's not a movie for everybody. It's when the closing credits began and the movie ended, I wasn't sure for a few minutes what I thought of it. Like, I knew I liked it, but did I love it? I don't know. I had to really think about it for a while afterwards, because it left so much unsaid. It leaves so much unsaid. Okay, so I had to go shut my cat up. Now I've lost my train of thought. Anyway, let's just wrap this up by saying it's very ambiguous. Lamb leaves a lot for you to figure out on your own. Decisions for you to make on what happened and why. And as I was saying, as time passed after watching it, I really started to, it was stuck in my mind, and I thought about it for a long time. And that is the kind of movie that I love, coming from A24. Something that really has me thinking, and it'll be a great piece of conversation for you to have with your friends and family after they watch it, to sort of feel what they got from it. It's like a moving piece of art because it's so beautifully shot. The 4K, we'll talk about the visuals just a little bit. At first I didn't like it because it felt very, very dim at the beginning of the movie, and I thought, oh, this is going to be one of those dim 4Ks. But then the palette, the color palette changes abruptly depending on time of day. You know, in the middle of the day, the brightness began to pop and that kind of thing. And it did get to be a brighter, prettier presentation. Overall, it is a very washed out look, and I think that's purposeful. That's from the source material. That is to give you a feeling for the life these people live. So it's not dynamic color-wise. This is not going to be something you pop in for the quality of the HDR, that's for sure. Overall, the visuals are beautiful, though. There's a lot of incredible landscapes. There's some shots where the director and the director of photography, I guess, work on this together, let the characters walk away and become this small in the shot, and you're just engulfed by the sheer isolation that these people live in. And that is a character in the movie in and of itself. It really does build the atmosphere and develop these characters just visually. So it's a pretty release. I wouldn't say this is definitely not a demo film for you, but it's a nice 4K. It's nice 4K. Now, audio-wise, it sounds great. It's got nice surround. But again, this is not dynamic. This is a lot of quiet moments. I think in those quiet moments, we could have had a little more atmospheric type audio, like ambient sounds and that kind of thing would have been kind of cool. But that's nitpicking because it sounds fine. It sounds good. It's a nice modern audio mix. Again, nothing special there. I do get very annoyed with A24 because they appreciate the cinematic experience. They appreciate, with stuff like this, I'm assuming they appreciate the collector and the people that love their releases, but they don't appreciate us enough to give us any freaking extras. You know, I got very upset about Midsommar when it came out because there's nothing. And this one is almost nothing. What we get here, it is neat to have a couple of short films from the director. We get that. We also get some SFX, some special effects little demo footage, and that's about it. Trailer. There's nothing here. Why in the hell does A24 not take the time to give us at least a director's commentary? Something. If they're going to put movies out like this and charge us $35 to $40 for them and design the artwork to riff on Criterion so heavily, but not look at what Criterion does with bonus features, this pissed me off. I wasn't surprised because I own Midsommar. Anyway, all that said, the primary reason we buy these is for the movie. Now, I've said before, special features are very important. This is one of the most unique films in my collection. It's a visual piece of art. It's beautiful. It's bizarre. It's fantastical. At times, it's horrific. But I'm blown away the more I think about it at how it can tell this feature-length story with almost no dialogue of importance. There's very little important dialogue in this movie. You see everything in visual. I could go into specifics, but I feel like so many of us haven't actually seen this movie yet. I don't want to be that guy that spoils it. But to tell you, at the end, when the credits rolled, I was fascinated by it. Hours later, I watched it yesterday as the time I'm recording this. Hours later, and today, I'm realizing I really love this film. It's just so unique. Highly recommended. Highly recommended. All of you guys that cracked this baby open and unboxed it, please take the time and watch it and let me know what you thought. This is a cool movie to have a conversation about. That's it. I hope you guys appreciated this unboxing and review. Till next we meet, pull something cool off the shelf. Remind your friends and family why physical media is the best way to watch films and TV at home. And I will see you guys on the next one.